Back at it again. Another conversation, another rise or die real talk, if you will. I'm excited about today's guest. We have none other than the artist who just released an album. You can find it across all music platforms. I just found it on Spotify, but just released an album here, October 7th. Super excited to get into that. You can see him, but you will know him. It is Unknown the Plague. What is going on?
What's up? I'm super fucking hyped to be here.
Oh, sick. Happy to hear that. Happy to have you. So it was funny. I was just asking you about the name that you have here. Are we cool with saying that name, or you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
that an
That's fine.
alias
I
too?
don't care. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, I was looking at the name. I was like, who's this Robert Crowley? And then it's interesting. Um, I want to get into the kind of unknown thing, but I just found that kind of interesting that you even have an alias, to really kind of have something to hide behind. Because there are going to be times, right, when you're making accounts and whatnot that you need to put a name in. So interesting thought there. Um, cool, man. So Unknown the Plague. I guess tell us a brief kind of intro about elevator pitch, who you are, and if you were to bump into someone, how would you describe yourself?
Um, that's a tough one. I
Yeah,
am just unknown the plague. I am just the mask. I just make music. Um, I make music that I hope people can learn from, essentially, like just big lesson music. Trying to touch
interesting.
all genres and just see everything that I can do. I don't know how to describe myself to somebody. I mean, I just go, hello. And
Okay.
then just, hey, what's up with the mask? And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what is up with the mask? Like, why did you decide to start wearing a mask?
The mask was not always a part of the vision. It was
Hmm.
always unknown that I was going to be very like recluse in my music. It was like I'm putting out the music, but it's like this isn't about me. It's about the music. It's about the music. Don't focus on me. Focus on what I'm saying. Focus on what you're hearing. And the mask just kind of like fell into my lap as like this is it. Like it's the perfect. I'm the man with no face. Like, and that's how I want to represent my music, is just like I am every one of you kind of thing. Like every fan in the crowd, like picture your face on my face.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's sick. Um, when did that idea start? You said it wasn't always in, the whole long
Yeah,
term or just vision.
me and Red started making music together as just like our catharsis and what we wanted to do to try to just get it out there and just stop. We had all the sadness and we needed to put it somewhere. And we would do all kinds of crazy shit. And we had these vendetta masks that we'd wear while we were doing it. And so I guess that's kind of where it started, because like the in the Mitsubishi Saga, the album cover has a little faded out picture in the corner of me and Red in the vendetta masks, like the original masks that we would wear as Section 12. And then I just put on the ski mask because it was easy, quick way for me to just get out on stage and do my shit real fast and not have to worry. And that's kind of where it just stuck. Like now everybody's doing it. Like I feel like I started a wave because everybody's getting their masks and getting their different styles in. Like I know Keith Thief has one now. I gave a couple out to like some real good homies and they love them. They wear them everywhere. So I'm liking that everybody's liking it. So I'm just gonna keep going with it. Fuck it.
Hell yeah, dude. That is sick. It's cool when you can create a little ripple and see people kind of catch on to it. But I do like the idea just behind it in general. It's kind of interesting. So I did want to ask you about something you had just mentioned, but I want to kind of do that a little bit later. I have a bunch of questions, and I feel like while I want to go on tangents, if I kind of stick to the order, it might kind of make sense in terms of just introducing you. But so the type of music that you guys make, right? There's a couple things as an outsider that I've kind of just seen, and if there's anything that you can grab onto to kind of describe or just explain, let me know. But there's a couple of things, right? So I guess one thing is what is like genre or scene? I call it scenes because like genre is a weird word because genre is like rock. It's a rock cat. It's a rap category. You know what I mean? It's like what would you say like the scene is called for your type of music?
I'm definitely taking that road less traveled and trying to make my own new sound and do something like all the influences that I've had do something new. But I always tell everybody, no matter where my genre is, whether I'm doing like EDM, rock, or trap rap or hip hop, it's all trance music. It's definitely all music that you could just pop some shrooms and put on with some flashing lights and just kind of wave to, whether
Hmm.
it's rock, rap, or EDM.
Okay. All right. Um, and I guess the few songs that I've heard have been more like, I guess, rap, right?
Probably that's the bigger part of my catalog is rap.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so I definitely respect where you're trying to go with it. I guess when I just kind of see you, I definitely see a rapper. Or from what I just, if someone said your name, I'd be like, yeah, yeah, the rapper, essentially, right? Just kind of in conversation. Um, is there like the whole Suicide Boys thing? Would you say that that was one of your very many influences?
Definitely, because like that was what got me and Red going in the first place, was listening to Suicide Boys and going like, this is what they're doing. I think we should be doing something like this because we have all the sadness and we just relate so hard to it. And I'm sure everybody feels like that. And we just decided that we were going to put it into our music in this way. And then we both have been moving in completely different directions and capturing different sounds, which I like.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that is cool. It's nice to kind of you can't always be the same, so it's cool to just come together with the different styles. But what is that Suicide Boys kind of style of music? Is there a name for it? Because it's not just regular rap. Like
I've seen
in
them
the
label
rock,
it as Shadow Trap.
is that what they label it as?
I've seen on when I play their stuff on SoundCloud every now and again, and I look, I see the tag is Shadow Trap. So I guess that's what they call themselves.
Interesting, Shadow Trap. Okay, now going back to what I was saying, there's some things that when I think about this scene, um, I kind of think of, such as the money sign for the S's. And like, I could totally be wrong on that. Where does that come from? Is that like a this scene kind of thing, or is that? I'm trying to think.
I have
I guess you've seen
no
it in
idea.
rap songs going back, but yeah.
I have no idea, honestly. My best guess is, I've seen Suicide Boys do it. I think they were the ones that made it huge. There's always been little things, especially in the rap trap scene, of like replacing letters with numbers. Like leet language is very big in music for some odd reason.
Did you call it leet music?
Leet language, like L337. It's
What
leet.
what does that like mean?
It's just the name that the language got for like replacing letters with numbers and different
Okay.
symbols and stuff, and it kind of evolved to do it like the dollar sign for the S and stuff, or the cent sign for a C. And that kind of, I feel like, it's been around for a while. Suicide Boys, of course, made it huge with the fact that their name is literally dollar sign Uicide Boy dollar sign,
Yeah.
and they played off of that brilliantly. And I mean, I
Is
just continue it as like, the dollar signs are always there. Like the dollar signs are the big one I use because they're the blinding factor in this scene. I feel like everybody
yeah, yeah.
got up in the money.
That's super interesting. I wonder where why is do you think the leet language thing is a like an internet thing mostly? Like do you think it like kind of
Definitely, but I'm
okay.
sure it was around before then. It can't not be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Cool.
Somebody said that it's usually not the first person to do something new that gets famous. It's the person who does it the best after them.
Mm, that's sick. Yeah, I was just curious about that. So I'm always interested in kind of different like scenes, if you will, right? So it's cool. Thanks that for that info. So where would you say you've been making a shit ton of music, bro? Like you've made a fucking lot of tracks, which is really cool. Where do you where did you first start putting your stuff, and where do you enjoy putting your things out the most? And then where do people actually listen to you the most? Like where do you get the most hits? Three-part question.
All right. Started obviously like everybody does on SoundCloud. We started putting shit there.
Yeah,
I'll
the
throw
term
it.
SoundCloud rapper, that became a thing.
Ugh, yeah, I've been telling people about that, and I'm like, it's painful because when you associate SoundCloud with yourself, it's like people almost get turned away from you as an artist because it's like, oh, another person just releasing their stuff on SoundCloud, and it really shouldn't be that way. It's the one place for people to put out whatever they got with nobody backing them. But the second part of your question, I got to shout out DistroKid because they make it so easy to just, you pay their yearly fee and they just give you all the services that comes with it. I put my stuff out through there and they give me Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, Deezer, everything, literally every service. And it just makes it really easy. Um, my biggest listener base is definitely Spotify. Everybody uses Spotify. I don't know what it is, but that one was the one that stuck because I see my stats from Apple Music to Spotify to SoundCloud and everything. And it is literally Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and then everything else, just little bits and pieces. Those are definitely the big three.
Okay, interesting. No, like YouTube's not up there at all?
YouTube is definitely not. It's definitely lower than SoundCloud on the list, probably lower than like Amazon Music. It's just in the mix there.
Interesting. Okay. I I'm a Spotify YouTube person, definitely when it comes to music, for sure. I never go out of my way. Like I'm never just chilling listening to SoundCloud or like any other music apps, I guess. Um, yeah, it's definitely just those two. So I guess which kind of leads me to another question. CDs. Have you put out any actual physical CDs ever? And are those even still a thing? Like,
Honestly, no. And I don't think that they're a thing anymore beyond like a novelty. It's no more different than getting like a shirt. Because when you really think about it, no one really has a CD player anymore. Like your Xbox One or your PlayStation can play CDs and shit like that, but nobody uses it for that. Everybody just has a Bluetooth speaker or a sound system that they just put their music on. And usually it's Spotify or YouTube or something like that. Um, I mean, this
where do,
the
where do
CD.
you where do you listen to your music?
Honestly, I've been a big SoundCloud listener lately because there's a lot of
Okay,
stuff on SoundCloud that's not on anywhere else. And like
sure.
you can get everybody's remixes and stuff that like the unofficial shit. You can put out anything. I have a couple of SoundCloud exclusives because my shit would not clear on other platforms.
And is that um with SoundCloud, is there any like is it fair game? Like people just put whatever up there? Like there's no like licensing, anything?
You can put whatever you want up there, no licensing, no nothing. Everything is basically released under Creative Commons because like nobody's making money from it. You can monetize on SoundCloud. They have stuff like that now, but you have to clear their review process. You can't monetize stuff that isn't, your own.
Hmm. You said that some of your stuff wouldn't be approved. Like what kind of stuff do you go into and talk about that wouldn't be approved?
I use a lot of samples. I've used back before I was producing and making beats, me and Red would find beats on YouTube, just like, free for whatever beats. And we'd
Hmm.
always try to go down the line and find ones that, 1,000 views at like the most. Like we just wanted to find the people that were at our level doing stuff
Hmm.
that, oh my gosh, this guy has talent. He only has like 20 subscribers. He deserves like some recognition. We'll use his beat. We'll put our lyrics over it. I'll remix it, remaster it into like the style of beat that we want, bump the bass up, make the snare pop, whatever. And then we just release it on SoundCloud and we just put it out there. And the whole goal of it is actually we want these people to hear them and contact us and be like, I've had people hit me up and be like, I love what you've done with it. Can you at least just throw a producer credit on it? And I'm like, absolutely. This was the goal. Let's get you on and start doing stuff so that you can come up too. Every listen we get is another listen for you.
Yeah, definitely. Um, that's sick. I love that. Um, let's see. How long in total have you been making music? I guess even if you've ever done any other projects other than kind of this Unknown the Plague thing, like when did you start making music or
Jeez.
playing music?
I've been doing music like my whole life, basically since I was, I think, 12. I was in like a little middle school band with one of my homies and a couple other people. I've always had an interest in music. Like I love just singing from a young age, just for fun. And then I got my first guitar at 13. Started doing a bunch of bands throughout high school. We did a lot of stuff. Tackling Triumph was the biggest one, and that was a lot of fun with like a lot of old homies that we were just having fun making music, playing everywhere. Played a bunch of shows.
What'd you do in the band?
I sang and played guitar,
Okay.
and it was honestly a lot of fun. It's different than being on stage now because now it's like I'm on there, I'm doing my stuff, and I'm like either I'm doing it with other people or just by myself. But it's not playing the instruments live with people. It's still a different it was a different kind of high I got from that kind of performance, I think.
Yeah, no,
But
for
I've
sure.
been releasing rap for like 4 years now. I started December of 2019. I released Mitsubishi Saga with Red. And that,
An iconic album.
oh yeah, it was some hard shit. And we're trying to go back to that. I'm trying to produce some more beats on the funk and hard side now, where we're gonna go a little bit back. Me and Red have an album that we're gonna be working on soon.
Do you feel like Red has progressed in his musical endeavors?
Yes and no. I mean, every time Red comes on the track, it's heat. He always like because my only issue with Red is he's just hard to get a hold of. His time is very valuable.
Right,
He's done
right.
a great
Okay.
job. He does good work, and he's always flying out to crazy places.
Right.
And whenever I can get him in the studio, his time is just so valuable because I just got to show him what I can, write something, get his voice on the track, and so he can edit. I can edit it while he's out doing shit.
So you think he's always been fire?
He's always been fire and it always has gotten better. He's just had less time to do it. If Red had more time to do it, oh,
Yeah,
like
yeah, true.
I think we'd be a lot farther along than we are because I work with a lot of other artists and I get a lot of other styles on my tracks.
Mm.
But every time Red comes on, he just delivers. He has something new to say, something new to put on, like a new flow, a new melody. He is, as much as I've had less time with him, he is still just as integral to everything I'm doing.
If you if you had to direct someone to one of Red's best pieces of work that you know, 100% vibe and just like jam out to, what's your favorite, I guess, verse or line, or where should they go to hear Red?
That's a tough one. I really want Red to release solo music. He's been like talking about it and like working on that level, but
Yeah.
Red has all features with me right now. But I mean, like I
What's your
said,
favorite feature that he's had on one of your tracks?
geez, I don't know. Toxic Girls, he really killed off of Rebirth Plus. Um,
Dude, you have so many albums. That's so funny.
There's so many with the reading. I'd say honestly, my favorite, and it's the one he hates the most, is the Reading Rainflow saga. I made like a 9 minute long beat thing out of the intro to the Reading Rainbow, like this educational
Okay.
film.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's all just sounds from that. And we made like this whole beat set that I chopped up into 3 songs and Red features on every single one and just knocks him out of the park. He hates them. And I'm just like, they're so good. Like, and I got a homie who is blind who I've had feature on my tracks. And
Cody, yeah.
Cody Care, he is the MVP. He told me that that was a masterpiece. And to hear that from him was like huge.
Yeah,
Because
that's funny, dude.
I mean, I was like, yes, I knew it. I knew this was the one.
Cody Care's funny. He's like everyone's godfather. It's kind of funny.
He really is. And everybody meets him always in some obscure way. Like I just met him one night at like 1 in the morning on Poe Hill. He just came
Yeah.
up there while I was up there and we jammed on guitar. It was a blast.
What a great spot, Poe Hill, at the top of that hill. It's great for
Yeah, dude.
a lot of different things. It's great. Yeah. No, we were just out there. He was there in some videos I shot for J Vibe, um,
Nice.
which is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
J-Pub kills
So
it too.
yeah, how many have you guys ever played the same show yet together?
I think me and J Vibe played one show together, and that was actually where I reconnected with Cody Care and ended up getting him on like this new album that came out.
Right.
And we got J Vibe on a song on the new album. He threw down a verse for our cipher track on there.
That's awesome, dude. I love that.
It's just, dude, fate's funny. Like things happen for a reason, and
I
it's
really I
funny.
really like the scene that you guys are in where you guys just kind of jump on each other's tracks all the time. Like it's
We feel
really
like we're
cool.
making a crew. Like it's been nice. I mean, Hero, the MC, another shout out, Bars Over Bars Media. He's a great guy. Been throwing a ton of shows for us. Like puts me on the roster for a ton of them.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna mention him too. Yeah, go ahead.
he called us the thrift shop crew. Like when we all came through, me, Keith Thief, Red, Little Heart, Cisco, all of them. He's just like, oh, it's the thrift shop crew, and now it's like we're sticking with that. That's basically our super group name now. Then we
That's
all,
funny.
and that's the beauty of it is we all just work together. And in this industry where it's so cutthroat and everybody wants money for this and money for that, and I'm just like, oh, you got an idea for a track? Yeah, I'll produce it. I don't care. Oh, like, yeah, you want me on a track? Yeah, I'll get on it. And it works out so well because everybody's super kosher with the vibe that we're all doing. We're all on the moral, in the same moral circle, and it works.
That is cool. That is really cool. What yeah, if by the way, speaking on that note, if you ever want to do a video, and I mentioned this to Red before, I'd love
Yep.
to just kind of do a video with you guys, just to have fun,
Yeah.
just like a normal hangout sesh, just jam out, like listen to some of your tunes and just we can go somewhere cool. And like this is kind of what I've done with J Vibe is we'll just, he said I'm pretty good. He likes me as like directing these kind of things because like I'm easy to work with and I'm easy to try to help get your like what you're trying to create and the message you're trying to bring out. Like I just want to compliment that, right? So it's like it's funny because in art there's a lot of like ego and people are like, yeah. And for me, I'm like, dude, I just want to compliment what you're putting out, right? Like I want to team up and kind of, what was the vibe? Like what did you actually picture in your head when you guys were creating this song? And I want to like kind of work together to try to recreate that vibe essentially. But anyways, yeah, just the offer is always there. I'd love to, you know,
Appreciate that. Yeah, Red was telling me about that, and I'd be definitely down to do it anytime.
hell yeah, cool. Um, so when you're not making music, what do you find yourself spending your time on these days?
Ugh. When I'm not making music, I'm literally just working or chilling, basically. Like it's been finding a balance in everything because I've been doing so much lately. Like this year has just been exponential growth. And it actually got to the point like halfway through the year where I couldn't handle it. I was doing so much with making music, making my own music, collaborating with other people, producing other people's songs, throwing shows, making my own sets, doing other people's sets, and not and working and paying my bills and shit like that and just trying to do everything. I was getting so overwhelmed, and I had to like take a step back and find the balance of like I need to live my life a little. I got to make time for my girlfriend. I got to make time for my birds, for my family. And I still have to stay on music and consistent with it. So this year has been crazy with the growth and then finding that balance of like, how can I manage all this at once? I'm going to be taking a hiatus the beginning of next year. We have a show like January 6th. I'm finishing up some collaboration albums with people, and then I'm taking like a month or two off to focus on myself and then on just my music alone before I get back out there and do everything with everyone.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's really important to, collect yourself and reset and get the mindset back to, just finding that balance between your hobbies and doing things you love and just your normal day-to-day life as well, and all that. So hell yeah. That'll be good. That begs to bear the question. One thing that I'm really, really into is kind of marketing. Um, so a couple of questions I have regarding that. I noticed that a lot of things that people do, they or okay, a big thing that a lot of, unsigned, like underground musicians, solo artists, will do.
Independent.
Independent artists, yeah, that I'll see do is like they it's tough to market an album. It's tough to like, and when I say market it, I don't mean like try to sell it. I guess I mean just like promote it, right? Like promote it so
Get
that like
people
it
to
gets in.
listen to it, engage
Right.
with
And that I want to ask you, um, do you try to market your music? And if I guess if so, how? And if not, why?
So I guess I can answer both parts of this question, hopefully, but it's a yes and a no, because everybody wants to market their music, and I do market my music in a way because I want to, people aren't going to listen to it if they don't know that it's there.
Right.
Also, people are gonna listen to it or they're not. And if it's not their vibe, they're not gonna. And if it is, they still might not listen to it just because it's not one of their big mainstream artists that they like. And that's just like you got to accept it that like you're not going to get everybody to listen, and that's fine.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
The only way I really market my music is putting it out on my socials, just saying giving a release like this is coming out on this date. Hey, this dropped. And then I like to just make memes. I'll find memes that fit the vibe of a song or something, or I'll think of an idea that fits with it. And I'll just make little videos and snippets and stuff and just start putting them out on places just basically for fun. Because if somebody hears it and they like it, maybe they'll give it a listen. But I still keep it in mind that if 100 people see it and one person likes it, it's still a flip of a coin whether they might actually listen to it or not. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of like I do try to market it, but no, I'm not trying to push it in people's faces. I'm not taking out Instagram ads every time I have a release just because it's not worth it. You're either gonna listen or you're not. And I've been seeing some pretty steady growth with just like, you get a couple more listens, you gain a new follower, and it's been working out. I don't want
Yeah.
to be
No,
like
for sure.
I don't want to be fake about it because like I'm not trying to just buy your listen with my entertainment. I want you to enjoy it. If you're entertained, then hopefully you'll come out to a show or something.
I think you do a really good job of balancing the like making the memes, which is like it's fun to do, and it also just gives another avenue of an eyeball to like learn about you. And I think that's great. And I totally agree. It's like you shouldn't look at it as, I mean, of course, at some degree, it's at a certain level, it can become a business, but for many artists, it's not necessarily a business, right? They're not making their main income off of music. And truly when that starts to happen, music becomes a different thing. You're not making it essentially for the same reasons anymore, and all that. But I guess I'm just more curious, and I guess the social scene aspect of your specific kind of genre, I guess, is in my opinion would be kind of hard to get in front of. So I guess that's kind of another like way of that I was looking at it in terms of marketing, is like how do you get it in front of those people that like the way that Rise or Die used to do our CDs, right? Was, hey, like, a Day to Remember is going to be playing. Like these bands were all influenced by A Day to Remember. Usually when the tour like had three big bands on it, they would all be, in the same, sort of scene, right? It'd be
It
like
was the
A
same
Day to
style,
Remember,
same
Devil
genre.
Wears Prada, yeah, and like another kind of metalcore band, right? And it's like, oh, if you like those three bands, you're definitely gonna like these bands, right? So I guess that was kind of our tactic of how do we get in front of people that would listen to our music if they knew that it existed. So do you do anything like that? Like,
It's that same tactic is exactly what playlist algorithms are. Like people that put together Spotify playlists and even SoundCloud playlists, like they just put you If you sound like the vibe, if you fit for the playlist, you know, you get a placement on it, or you have to pay for a placement on it, or that's like how you do it. And it's funny because I
That's
do
so
remember those CDs.
interesting. I should start doing Spotify playlists, bro. Am I dumb?
That is exactly where I'm going with this because I remember those CDs. I remember Red handing me one in high school and like looking at all, it's like it was literally three different bands of like all different stuff. And it's like, if is basically if you liked this group, here's three different bands all making a similar style of music for you to explore. That is playlists. Make a bunch of playlists for a bunch of different genres of music, and you just start putting local people on, and it's like
Yeah.
this is the A Day to Remember playlist, and it doesn't have any A Day to Remember in it. Maybe a couple songs if you want, but
No, yeah,
without the
you wouldn't
people.
put, oh yeah, I guess you could on Spotify because it's different.
Exactly. It's a little bit of a different.
Motherfucker.
Yeah,
That's
because
dude.
that's real like promotion for the because now it's they're not
Yeah.
just listening on the CD that you made. Now that's like they're actually linked right to the artist's account, to their
Yeah.
Spotify and their
So,
music.
so we always had the digital aspect of the whole CD thing. We did the Bandcamp thing was, the
I
SoundCloud, I
remember
guess.
Bandcamp.
Yeah. So yeah, Bandcamp was what we used. But no, dude, this is totally just like opening my mind up to opportunity to possibilities of putting these playlists together, which is really cool because then you guys do a bunch of networking in those CDs or in those playlists as well. You start hitting up the other artists in those playlists and you're like, "Yo, we were on this playlist together. I learned about you and I think your music's cool. Here's my music if you ever want to do a track together or whatever, like let's do it." That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, we do that mostly at the shows. Like every show that we've gone to, we've got at least one person that we've collected like information from where we go back and forth. We met Dying Star at Bars Over Bars show. I have a song coming out with him that he had me feature on because he liked what I had and said, I think you'd be good for this.
That's so
And
cool, dude.
same
I
thing,
love
Bill
that.
Rich had another Willie D, another one who he ended up working with and making a track together with. So
Yeah.
everybody's touching every side of it.
I saw that's what she said. I saw a you and Bill Rich like headline show on Bars Over Bars together. It was like that dude is really interesting and talented. That Bars Over Bars guy.
Oh, Hero the
What's his name?
MC.
Yeah, Hero, dude.
He's a
That
G.
he does a lot
Best in the
for that.
business.
He does a lot for you guys for sure, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know how that happened, but like we hit up, me and Red hit him up a while ago mentioning Marky J because we knew he did stuff with him. And he was like, hey, just, talk to this guy, mention my name, and we'll, try to put you on the roster for shows. And I was like, oh, hey, can we get on some shows? He was like, come out and see what we're doing and talk to me.
Yeah.
So we way, way later, like 6, 7, 8 months down the line, he just ends up hitting me up out of nowhere and it's like, I have a show in Lowell if you want to play. And he gives me the date, and I'm like, absolutely. And from then on, ever since that performance, he just keeps hitting me up for shows, and I'm just super grateful for it. Like most of the shows I've gotten have been just because of him.
That is super cool. Um, yeah, that's fucking sick that he's doing
I
like
can't
so
speak
many
highly enough
shows.
on him.
Yeah, yeah. That's dope. And it's also just great self-promotion for himself too, because he makes his own music, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy. Like, yes, it is good self promotion for him, but like I said, I
Not,
can't
not,
speak highly enough about him that he really
yeah,
does it
yeah.
for the local community.
Right.
He is the best in the business. His motto is never charge the artist. And like I don't know how much greener you can get than that. Like he is the probably one of the best people in this scene.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Never charge the artist is a really nice motto and thing to live and work by because it's tough to be in this position of I've definitely tried to host some shows before and it was really tough to like rent out a venue and like not have enough from ticket sales and it's like all right guys like we all have to kind of pitch in together. But I think it's like how you go about it. If you're in the business of just making bands play for like their friends and like four people, it's like come on bro, like what are you doing? But if you're like in the business of putting together actual like like rosters, like talent, like shows and promoting and doing your working your ass off to promote and whatnot. I think it's sick. Um, okay. We asked you that. What what is important for the world to know about Unknown the Plague right now? What a question.
Yeah, that's a loaded one. All right. What's important for the world to know about me right now? Um, I'm trying. I'm trying to fix everything wrong with the world. And that is that's the master plan out of in the end out of all of this. Right now, I just want everybody to know that like I'm trying and like there's a lot of things wrong with the world, but it's just gonna get wronger unless we all do something about it. So, that's so fucking stupid, but
No, dude, I love that. What do we do about it?
uh, I it's dumb, but the only thing I can think of is like I put it in this latest album that I released, hoping that people would understand this message that George Orwell was warning us about way back when. He was a prophet of the early 1900s, in my eyes, anyway. And he told us that in the future there will be only four emotions: fear, rage, triumph, and self abasement. There'd be no loyalty except loyalty to the party, but always there would be the um, intoxication of power, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who's helpless. And if you wanted a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on the human face forever. And I think that's where we're at right now. And
Dang.
and he said the moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is actually a simple one: to not let it happen. It depends upon you. And that is probably the message I would want the world to hear right now, is that it depends upon you,
Mm,
you alone, to make this world a better place.
that's fucking deep, bro. Shit. What a great answer. I feel the same way. I definitely have a rap song that I only have like three rap songs, and one of them I literally mentioned George Orwell. So I respect the shit out of that answer. That was great.
I think we all feel the same way. I think deep down, no matter what your beliefs are on anything, it's like we all feel the same way. We all want a better world. And the only way
Yeah.
we're gonna get there is if we all work together by taking it upon ourselves. Not I'll do this, you'll do this. It's just I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I'm gonna keep going and staying on my righteous path, and just the nature of the snake is to bite. It won't change my nature to help. Just keep going, you know?
Mm.
Same as everything, you know, in the music, keep going, in life, keep going. It's just keep going.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me to my next question of why do you make music? It sounds like a big part of it is to obviously help get the word out about, just life in general. And also what I've gathered from you is kind of about emotion and helping get some of that sadness out. But yeah, you tell me, why do you make music?
That's probably it. I mean, I started making music as a catharsis because I'm so deeply damaged that like I'm never gonna live like a normal person. And it is not about romanticizing the melancholic solitude like so many of these people are. It is a dark and depressive state, and you don't want to be in it. I hope you listen to all the progression of my tracks from early to the end and see my metamorphosis into what I was to what I am. And here in every track from the beginning, from the very first track that I started making and started talking about all this, that you don't want to be like me. You don't want to live this life. Do not live it if you don't have to. Save the world by saving yourself. Do the right thing. Learn from my mistakes. It's literally in the latest song I made with Cody Care, and God bless him for this because the song came out beautifully because of him. It's just, be better than I am. Like it's just I want every like no matter what you think about yourself, no matter what you think about others, like you just have to just be 1% better every day. And it's really important to do that because if you're not going up, you're going down. There is no like stagnation is still going down. There's no standstill. You have to keep going.
Mm, yeah.
I make music to tell people to keep going. And to
And
tell
you're
myself to keep going, I guess.
yeah, that's really interesting. I was gonna ask like and to keep yourself going too, or
Yeah,
um
I wouldn't be here without the music. I mean, holding all that inside me for as long as I did was awful. And I remember the feeling of holding it inside. So now I just really try to get those feelings when they resurface, when new feelings come, when old feelings from the past resurface, I put it into the computer, into the microphone.
I love that, dude. Yeah, I'm glad you have an outlet to do that. I think music's a really great vessel and good tool to do that. It's always done that for me as well. What is section 12? Is that like your guys's, I don't know, like you
For
tell
lack
me.
of a better term, it's our gang. It's basically, we've done it. We were doing a lot of really crazy shit back then, and it basically evolved from being like what we were actually doing to now it's kind of like Section 12 records. Like it's the people that we've had that stuck around, that were on the same path that we were, because we've had people and we've lost people, we've met new people that were not good and they've gone, and we've met people that were very good and they've stayed. And that's basically the whole thing, is like when you run with Section 12, you got to be on the ball, I guess. Like we're not fucking around, like, because back then that was the whole thing. I was like, Section 12 don't fuck around. Like we come somewhere, we're partying hard. We come somewhere to do something, we're doing it, we're getting it done. And that was it. And then we went back and got fucked up and did whatever together. And we were like the band of brothers style shit that all these gangs that everybody's kept running after, that's everyone's trying to capture the sense of community that it really holds. And it's like you just have to do it the right way and know what you got to know right from wrong. You got to know your own moral boundaries and stay true to them, because it's very easy to get lost in them around a lot of people.
So section 12 was a gang? I'm confused.
I'm sorry, I got a little lost in that, like I do.
That's a cool.
Kind of ramble.
It's okay.
But Section 12 is like our gang. Like that
Yeah.
is our community that we had
It's
ran
like
with for so
would
long.
would you say it's like the equivalent to like the ASAP thing, like ASAP Rocky, ASAP, like all these ASAPs? Would you say it's like the Section 12 has
Yeah,
like
kind of like, yeah, I'd say that's pretty similar. I'm not super familiar with a lot of that. I'm a big recluse. I don't listen to a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot of the mainstream shit, but
yeah.
yeah, basically it's just Red, Keith Thief, me. I mean, we got Bill Rich in on it. I mean, he's an honorary Section 12 member. He's been doing some good work, and I think he's also on the righteous path.
That's cool, man. I love that. Um cool. I didn't know if I figured that's kind of what it was. And it makes sense that it's kind of evolved into your guys's not label, but like group that you guys all make music together, like D12, you know?
Yeah, basically, and yeah, it all comes from. I guess I got to give the origin story too while I'm there. The Section 12 is like when you get Section 12 at a hospital and you're forced to stay in a mental asylum. That's like
Ah,
where it actually originates from, is because we've all been in the ward before.
section 12. Okay, that actually I did not know that. So I'm glad you said that. I thought it was like, low income or whatever. But that's section
Yeah,
8.
they're low income housing. That's funny. Yeah. But no, Section 12 in a hospital, like, because there's Section 4, Section 8, Section 12. And there's like, you can voluntarily check yourself in, but like, Section 12 is an involuntary check in, essentially. You're forced to stay there.
Sheesh. All right. Would you ever raid Area 51?
Um, no, only because I'm after
Because
the deeper shit. I'm
because you're
going
what?
straight to Agartha, baby. I'm gonna climb the Antarctic ice wall. I'm going to the center of the earth.
Bro, how did you take my question and go to Agartha with it, bro? That's so funny. Okay, I feel you
You
though.
thought.
Uh, dude, I actually feel you. Okay, so you actually believe in Hollow Earth? You believe in Agartha?
Dude, I don't know what the fuck to believe on that level. I've seen some crazy shit, and at this point, I'm willing to believe that it is like Earth, like a sphere, but it's fucking inverted, dude. It's like we're on the inside. We are like in the center of the Earth.
Oh, that's interesting concept. Never thought of that.
Yeah, like because you can't really disprove that. Like imagine like you're just looking up through the sky, okay, and it's like a clear sky, no clouds, clear
Sure.
blue
Yeah.
day, and you're just looking up through it. You're looking at like Australia or China or another part of the ocean or something. Like
Hmm.
you're just stare, but it's so far away that you can't see it, and we're actually just you think you're traveling straight, and they're trying to convince us it's a curve like this way, but it's actually like a curve this way. That's just like some crazy conspiracy theory of mine, but like there's a lot of weird shit that makes me question, like, I don't think we've ever been to space. Like, I don't think we've ever been to the moon, ever sent drones to leave our atmosphere, because the Earth's a closed system. If you change the mass of the Earth even a little bit, it fucks up everything, the orbit, everything. And that's according to their science. So if we sent 4 astronauts in a spaceship out of Earth's atmosphere, that would throw off our fucking shit and we'd all die.
I feel like, well, okay, I can see what you're saying on that, but I feel like it's so big that I don't feel like something that small would cause a huge impact. But that's just how my brain works. But
Yeah, like I
no,
said, I'm not spitting any of this as fact. I'm just throwing out these things that I just think about. That's like,
no,
I
I
don't
agree
know.
with
Some of
you.
these things are like, how
Yeah,
could we actually have done this? Because they tell us like this is the math for this thing, and then this is the math for this thing, and then you do out the math, and it's like both of them don't line up. It's like, how can we be a closed system and no mass is actually allowed to like enter or leave Earth's atmosphere? But we also like have sent a million drones out. We've sent a ton of spacecraft out. Like you say, oh, it's so big that it's such a small amount. But think about how much shit they've told us that we've actually sent up into space. How many satellites? How many spaceships have been gone up and lost? How many drones or rovers go up there and they just stay up there? And from every country that has a space program, that's a lot of mass. You know, it's a
yeah.
lot of metal.
So I'm with you on the moon thing. But the one question that I always like that always fucks me up is like when they say, no, 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 they left a thing that you can like point a laser beam at and it would just point it back at you. Like you can see the reflection of it, like on the thing. Have you heard that?
I have not heard that. That's really cool, but it would also be really easy to replicate if if any other conspiracy about Earth was also true. Like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's neat, but it's kind of like them. It's like the people that believe that we're actually in just like a dome. We're like, you know, we're actually closed off system, like the rest of the world could be decaying, or we're just like one little closed dome of people. We wouldn't really know, but you could just project whatever you wanted to into the sky, or you could just put a mirror up there or something. And it's like, I don't know. I don't believe any of the stuff that they've told us now, because when you lie so much, how can you trust anything?
Yeah.
So I'm very didactic about every piece of information. Even if it sounds like absolute lunacy, I want to look into it and figure out like if there's any ambiguity to the statement, you know?
Right. I'm the same way. My brain is it's called being a critical thinker. It's being not just under like believing whatever you're told, but like wanting to either try it yourself, try to reenact it yourself, right? Or just I'm the same way. That's why I totally know about Agartha and the whole hollow earth. That's why I don't think there was any possibility we landed on the moon in the 60s. I don't know if I get behind the whole space is fake thing. I mean, you can see it. I'm just another thing that I'm a big believer in. If you can see it, like it has a little bit more legitimacy with me. Like I can see the moon.
I don't
So
think
like,
like
is that a
space is
projection?
fake, but I mean, I'm
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Bible believer. So like the
You're a
Bible,
what?
I'm a Bible believer. Like
You
I'm
are? You are?
like a lot of people say they're Christian or they're Catholic or stuff, but I'm like, I believe what like the Bible tells us about what happened.
Whoa,
And
interesting.
like give or take and call me crazy because I never am forcing my beliefs on anybody, but I really believe that like, God created the earth, God created the stars, separated light from darkness. Like the things we're looking at are literally the things that were told about us. Like, yeah, space exists, but that space is literally like beyond our comprehension. It's ethereal realm. It's like a third dimensional being looking at the fourth dimension. That's what we can comprehend of it. And like he tells us what the stars and the planets are in the Bible. If you look deeper into it, not just the Bible, but it talks about astrology and the meanings of the positions of planets and stars to how this affects things. You go into the greater and lesser keys of Solomon, and then it teaches you more things. But
Were you always a Bible believer?
no, I definitely I walked with my divine light severed for a while, and it brought me back to him and showed me a lot more.
Holy fuck.
Probably than I wanted to know.
I'm so mind blown right now that you're like born
I know,
again.
and
That's kind of sick, actually.
a lot
Okay.
of people look at me and they're like that crazy rapper thug, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like very like strict on biblical belief.
Holy shit. So, but that's weird to me because like okay, do you get drunk still these days?
I get a little bit like I use substances, but never abuse substances, if that makes sense. Like I drink on occasion, but I'm not the type of person. I don't like getting blackout. I do not
Okay.
like getting intoxicated beyond like
Sure.
coherency. I like to be aware of myself at all times.
Okay. Um okay. So you said you're a Bible believer. Do you consider yourself like a Christian or Catholic or like none of those? Do you
I mean, I
just believe?
just say Christian because I feel like all of those like Protestant, Catholic, Calvinist, all of those things, it's just like all branches off of the Christian Bible. And like they've
Okay.
changed things. And like we know even back then, like King Henry, he created the Church of England, which changed the Bible even more. And even back then, like the only English Bible that we have is translated from a Germanic Bible, which got a lot of things wrong in the translation. There's a lot to it.
That's
Like,
cool that you know so much about it, man. Wow.
I didn't just like read the Bible and go, I'm a believer, because I was like a Sunday school kid. I grew up in a Christian household. I went to Sunday school as a kid. I went to church on occasion and on holidays and stuff like that and learned about it. I completely tried to reject it in my teenage years and just basically ran with the crowd of what everybody was saying at the time. Because you look at the way things are now, not many people are devout religious anymore. They really push against religion, especially Christianity. But I went back to it and really started studying it and learning about all the things that it had to say, not just reading something and believing what somebody else had to say, what it meant, but really reading the context around the verse or whatever they were trying to say. And it was like, wait a minute, there's a lot of deception among the Bible that people are trying to say this means this and this means that. And they're even saying all this stuff, like certain things are up for debate. And it's like, did you read it? Did you actually read the whole thing? None of this is up for debate. It is actually pretty cut and dry what it's telling you, asking you. Like, there's everything from telling you how to deal with loss of loved ones to how to cope with financial problems to how to cope with emotions within yourself. Like, it just, there's all this information for how to actually deal with being a human. And I just
In
see
the
some,
Bible.
yeah, in the fucking Bible. And I say it like because I was mind blown. I was
Yeah,
like,
no.
what the hell?
I grew up as a Catholic, for sure. And then I'm kind of with you. I don't really walk around with any like claimed faith, I guess, right now, you know? Um, I don't know.
It's fine. It is what it is.
I do walk around and think like, I probably should pick a side if like the end times are near, and just kind of get close with God, you know? But at the same time, it's like, you know, I just live every day like it's just, you know, another opportunity, another
That's fair.
great, yeah. I
Which
don't
is
know.
good. It's not a bad thing.
I think the fear porn aspect of religion caught a lot of people and gave them a bad taste, right? And been like, you know,
Yeah, but
I
I look at it like which people caught that bad taste. You'd
which
only catch,
people?
yeah, like you'd only catch a bad taste from something like this if you were directly against something in it. And the way that I from what I've learned about and what I've read in it and shit, there's not anything to be against in it. It literally is telling you to be a flower in God's garden. There is no real fear porn in it other than like fear in the Bible is used as like you should fear God, and it's used in the term of like respect. Like you would fear your father in the sense of you would fear him getting angry at being disappointed in you and things
Sure.
like that. That is what it means in that sense of like you
I,
shouldn't want to disappoint the people
I
around you.
agree. No, I agree. I do definitely agree with that. I think where it becomes kind of fear porny is the people that just go like, you know, if you don't believe, then you go to hell. That's all there is to it. Or like if you
Right.
sin and you don't like make,
Which I
whatever.
haven't, there is no hell in the Bible. Like that's not a
Are
place
you
you
sure?
go. Yeah, the Bible only talks about three realms in this world, and that's earth, which is where we are, there's heaven, which is where he is, and there's Sheol, which is the Jewish term for the void. And it's basically the soul shredder. Like on judgment day, God will judge you and be like, do you want to live in this world that I've created? And this world is going to go back to being perfect, how I intended it. This is the rules. This is how you should live. This is what will happen to you. Do you want to live in it? If you don't, I can make you disappear. You won't feel pain. You won't feel anything. I send you to the soul shredder, to Sheol, and you cease to exist. And that's it. And the way I see that, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a, you know, everybody wins in this situation, you know?
That's crazy, man. I did not expect this conversation to go here, but I'm not
Yeah, I'm
mad about
sorry.
it
I
at
don't
all.
I don't try to
No,
make it
no,
go there.
dude.
I study a lot of that stuff. It's not just off of like nothing, you know?
I love it. I love learning about, that. I never knew that. Honestly. I feel like I just kind of I feel like I um assumed that the word hell was in the Bible or something similar to it, a place they
They do
described
talk
as hell,
about
right?
it, but it's like hell even in the Bible is more of just like state of mind. Like if like in hell everybody's got spoons instead of hands and they're like 6 feet long. They're wicked long ass spoons. So when they try to feed themselves, they can't effectively feed themselves. Food's falling all over the place. And that's hell. No one can feed themselves. In heaven, everybody feeds each other and everybody eats. They still got the 6 feet fucking long spoon arms, but they just feed each other and everybody's kosher.
Bro, that's
It's
trippy.
fucking
Do you have
state of
do you
mind.
have do you have any songs about this?
I mean, a lot of my lyricism is about stuff like that. I don't, nothing
Do
immediately
you
pops to mind like blatantly, but
no, do you have any lyrics that literally mention 6 foot spoon arms?
no, but I should.
100% need to write that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have a couple left here. We've been going for about an hour, which is great, man. I absolutely love it. I've been
Yeah,
learning a
no,
lot about you.
I could talk fucking forever, dude. I love having these deep conversations with
Me
people and
too.
shit.
Yeah. Um, do you think there's aliens?
No, I don't believe in aliens at all. They're actually, the Bible tells us that there will come the creatures, they'll claim to be either interdimensional, they'll claim to be aliens from outer space. They're gonna be demons trying to trick you. And that's like, I'm like,
Sick.
okay. And that's literally what I hold. And I'm like, all right, like I'm just gonna hold on to that one for a while and see what happens.
Okay.
Because like
Um,
it's crazy shit happening in the world today. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of forces at play.
do you know who Bart Sibrel is?
No, but who is he?
He's the guy who Buzz Aldrin punched in the face for like making him. He's the guy who went around to all the astronauts telling them to put their hand on the Bible and swear to God they walked on the moon. Have you,
Oh, I
have
did
you,
not know that.
oh, you didn't know about this?
No.
Oh yeah, check it out. Astronauts Gone Wild is the movie on YouTube. Um And then there's another one called a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That's the reason I don't think we went to the moon. Those two videos together. You're telling me like not one of those fucking astronauts, well, a couple of them did, but you could tell they were pissed off about it after. This is a cool rabbit hole for you to go down because yeah, he goes to every astronaut and was like, "Yo, if you've been to the moon, swear like put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon." And a lot of them were like, "No, dude, I'm not doing that." And it was just kind of funny. One of them actually, he was doing an interview in this guy's face, showing him video footage of them with a translucent, like making it look like the Earth outside of the window in the spaceship they were in. But he was showing him this video, and then the astronaut finally started like catching on to what he was looking at, and he was like, "Yeah, you need to go, blah blah." And Bart,
Because it was
because
proof that what they were doing was fake.
right, yeah, and Bart was like, "Dude, like." He was like tricking people to get into their homes to give him interviews and then start asking him the tough questions about like what really happened and shit. But like, yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's good journalism. That's like the job of journalists is to be the hated person and dig for information.
yeah. So I ask you that because if you knew him, because he is the guy who's probably you know made me believe that we never walked on the moon. It's more likely that we didn't than we did, in my opinion. And he's the guy who did that. But he also was like is like super religious. Like he's like super religious, and that's why I just found that interesting because you're telling me that you seem to know a lot about the Bible, which is very interesting. Um, Searching for Saints. Can you tell me a little bit about that project and a little bit about maybe who's on it, like where the idea came from? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Searching for Saints is basically what it sounds like. I'm out here searching for the Saints. I'm searching for the people that are gonna run with me and we're gonna all collectively try to make this world a better place. And I've been finding them. And a lot of the Saints are on that track because they're or on that album rather. As I search for them, I can find them and place them and figure out who they are. We've got the cipher on that Revelations 1:8 um, has seven of the saints on it. It's got Red, me, Bill Rich, Keith Thief, Cody Care, J Vibe, and Sam Boney, all spitting on one track, just one right after the other, telling a little bit of our story and what we do and what brought us here and shit.
Cool.
It's I don't know. I mean, it's just been one of the biggest projects for collaboration that I've had, and it's been about getting that real message out. And I think that album just played it so nicely. I'm very grateful for everybody's help on it because every single person on that album that isn't me is helping tell my story a little further. Like they're just such a big part of it that like it wouldn't be the same without them. I could say the same things and it wouldn't be the same without them.
Word. I really like that. I love the fact that you had so many people on it. I actually remember hearing about that track, I believe, when I was recording with J-Vi, one of the videos that we were putting together, maybe a couple months ago. So that's interesting. I can't wait to hear it. I didn't listen to it yet. Um, let's see. Yeah, we're pretty much closing up shop here. The last question I have for you is kind of one that I want to start asking everyone I talk to. And that question is, who would be on your Mount Rushmore of music if you had to select, four heads on that, Mount Rushmore of just music? I
Like my
guess think
greatest artists of all time kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. Like, and think about it in terms of like you and like what has shaped Unknown the Plague. You know what I mean? Not like who you think is the all-time best like composer of a song. Like,
But yeah, if Unknown was Mount Rushmore, who are those four people
yeah,
that make
like
it up kind of thing?
Unknown's taking promo shots in front of Mount Rushmore, arms crossed, standing up. Like whose heads are on that behind you?
I mean, I guess I would have to put Ruby and Scrim there. The Suicide Boys have been a huge influence on everything that I've done, obviously.
Did
Um,
you see the Nardwar interview with Suicide Boys?
I did. Everybody was sending me that when that came out, and it was
Sorry, go
pretty
ahead.
funny. I'd love to get interviewed by him someday.
Dude,
He thinks
Nardwar
I'm
is
the
one of the cool,
deepest
yeah.
shit. Uh,
Coolest dudes ever. But yeah, so okay, those two dudes, and
yeah,
then who else?
it's Ruby, Scrim, definitely putting Ghostman up there. Like a lot of like Ghostman has been a huge inspiration. Love that guy. Uh,
Ghostman's from what group's he from?
Ghostman is he's originally from Schema Posse. Is Lil Peep, Jay Green, and him.
Okay.
And then he ended up branching off like the same time Peep ended up branching off and doing his own thing, like or a little before him, I think actually. Ghostman was doing his own stuff and coming up, and he makes a definitely a very niche style of music, but I love it. I'm in love with it. The way he tweaks frequency and makes his songs is very like it inspires a lot of the stuff I make.
Cool.
And that fourth person on the head, that's a toughie because there's a lot, but I'm gonna put Bamboon on that because he has been a huge like everything about my beats. Like I keep thinking of Bamboon, and he's
I never
just
heard of Bamboon. I have to look check him
probably
out.
not. He's much smaller, but you can find him everywhere, but he's a mostly a beat maker. He does have like rap tracks and stuff that he spits on. He has a couple people that he'll come and feature on, but it's mostly just like beat sets and stuff. He does like launch pads and shit. He is one of the best in the fucking business with that. Like he really does some amazing stuff. If you ever see any of his live sets on YouTube, he's amazing with what he does, and he's probably my biggest inspiration for making beats. Like everything he does, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how does he think of this shit?
Cool, man. I love that. That's a great answer. I felt like it really helps us get to know you. And it helps me. I want to go check out some of these artists that I've really have never heard of. It's a whole different, just place for music, right? Like it's funny, like country music, you're gonna hear it whether you like it or not. Like, everything, hip hop music, like there's all sorts of music that you're gonna hear no matter what, just from living in a public, whatever place. But this
Yeah,
is one style of music that really you kind of have to go searching for, if you want to hear it.
I've
Um,
always liked obscure music. Like always
yeah,
stuff that's like people are like, why are you playing this? And I'm like, I love this. What are you talking about?
yeah. For sure. Thank you so much for jumping on here. I really hope that everyone joins me in checking out the most latest release from Unknown the Plague and the whole posse. It's titled Searching for Saints. You can find it on Spotify. You can find where else? Just Spotify, SoundCloud, where
Everywhere.
else?
It's out everywhere.
Okay, cool. So yeah, thanks so much for the conversation, man. I really appreciate it. I'll let you finally take that mask off and probably,
Oh,
let
I
your
don't
face
take this
breathe.
off. I live in it. What do you mean?
Yeah, dude. Imagine like
I eat, sleep, dream in this thing.
you start smelling some very strange smells one day.
Yeah, I always smell strange smells.
Cool, man. All right, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
doing
man,
this.
thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, later.
Have a
I'm
good
gonna
one.
eat some pizza.